everybody. So my name is Miss Jenna, and this is
Emmy.
And we are going to be making some Bible lesson videos and uploading them onto YouTube so that anybody who wants to can watch and learn a little bit about what the Bible says and how we can apply that to our lives. So today is our first video, and we're going to talk about our foundation. Emmett, do you know what the word foundation means?
Yes, it means like the bottom of something. Before you build it, you need like a good sturdy thing.
So like when we build with blocks or Legos, we want our foundation to be strong, right?
Yeah.
So that
so
what?
if you like build with Legos, you should like put Legos down as a floor, like get a board.
And why
And if
should
you're
we
playing
do
with
that?
Blocks, you should put blocks down or a board before you build.
And why should we do that?
Well, so your house doesn't fall down.
Okay. So, you know, Jesus tells his disciples a story about two builders, one who built his house on sand and one who built his house on a rock. And in the story, in the Bible, Jesus was, it tells us about how Jesus was telling his disciples about how to live their lives, different lessons that apply to their lives and how they should follow these lessons to live their lives like Christ and God call us to live our lives. And at the end, the last thing he tells them before he finishes this big, long lesson is, if you hear my words, then you practice them and put them into action in your life and follow my words and my lessons, then you're like the wise builder who builds his house on the rock. And he says, when the storm comes and the rain comes and the streams rise, his house, the wise builder who built his house on the rock, his house will stand firm. But anybody who hears Jesus' words and does not put them into action, does not follow them, is like the foolish builder who builds his house on sand. And when the storms came and the streams rose, the house crumbled and it came down with a loud crash. So we have some buckets of sand here, and mine just has sand. Emmett's has a little something in the bottom that might help him a little. So we've got some blocks here, and we're going to build houses. So you go ahead and build your house, and I'm going to build my house. I'm going to build it as sturdy as I can.
Yeah, I'm going to build mine really sturdy.
Yeah. All right, you done?
Yeah.
And I'm done with mine. Okay, so we
You
have...
have more pieces than me.
Nope, we have the same amount of pieces. So, Jesus says, what happens after they build their houses? What comes?
The water comes.
The water comes, the
Storm.
rain, the storm, and the streams rise. And so, we've got some water here. And in our lives, what are storms?
No.
Like bad things that might happen in our lives, right?
Yeah.
So like maybe when things get harder for us and stuff like that. So Jesus says that when the storms come, the foolish man who built his house on the sand, what happens to his house? Oh, it crashes. My tower came down. My house came down. So now we're going to pour the water onto Emmett's tower. I might not have built it right on the rock there. And Emmett's tower is still standing because underneath Emmett's tower, he's got this big, strong rock. So, oops, sorry. So what do we learn from our towers, from this story about these wise and foolish builders? We learn that we need to build our lives on the foundation of the rock. And in Psalms verse 62, or chapter 62, verse 6, it tells us, God is my rock, my salvation. He is my defense. What's the last part, Emmett?
I must not move.
I shall not be moved. Good job. I shall not be moved. So when we build our lives on Jesus as our foundation, then we will not be moved when the storms come. What does it mean to build your life on the foundation of Jesus? That's something that we can choose to do every single day in every choice we make. So some of the choices we may have to make is maybe when our brother or sister wants to play with our toys and we really don't want to share. But what could we do? That would be a good choice to share anyway. And that would be a good choice of showing love, which is something that Jesus calls us to do. And that's a choice that we can make to be building our foundation on Jesus and to be being more like Jesus. And what about when mom or dad asks you to clean up your toys?
Clean up, Mom.
Then you clean up your toys and being obedient to your mom and dad. Is that something that Jesus calls us to do? Yes, it is. So every day, in our everyday choices, everything that we do in our lives, we can choose to make the right choice that follows what Jesus says. And he says that if we do this and we listen to him and follow what he says, that we're like that wise builder who built his foundation or built his house on the foundation of the rock. And we can build our lives on the solid foundation and the rock of Jesus. So I hope that this week you guys can go out and remember this lesson and make the choices in your everyday lives to do what Jesus would call you to do in any situation you have. No matter what choice you have to make, to think to yourself, what would Jesus want me to do? And make that choice so that you can be building your life on the foundation of Jesus. Right? You gonna try that this week? Good. All right, well, we're gonna upload some more videos over the next few weeks and we hope you guys will tune in. And if you have any specific lessons you want to hear about from the Bible or any questions that you have and you want to know what does the Bible say about this, you can comment down below and we will try to get those videos out to you. All right?
Bye, guys.
Bye.